Hello everybody, it's me, Lance, or Undead Viking. I'm coming to you with another video review a week. This is video number 101, so we have gotten done with 100 videos, or 100 reviews I should say, because they weren't all video reviews, but we got done with 100 reviews, and now we're taking our first step towards another 100 and even more, theoretically. Okay, well the game I'm going to be reviewing today is Last Will. This is going to be released by Rio Grande Games here in America. It was released already in Europe by Czech Games Editions. It is by Vladimir, I believe, Sachi. I apologize. I'm horrible with foreign names. So if the designer or somebody that knows the designer wants to pop in and correct me with the pronunciation, feel free to do so. This is a game a lot of people have been waiting for. I actually got my copy from Czech Games Edition. They sent me this and a few other games that I'm going to be reviewing. And I have this now, and I'm going to show you how to play it, and I'm going to tell you what I think. The theme of the game is, if you grew up in the 80s, you may or may not know of a movie called Brewster's Millions, a funny little comedy with Richard Pryor and I think John Candy was in it, and some other people. But basically the premise of the movie was that Richard Pryor inherited a gajillion dollars or whatever from a long lost uncle that he never knew he had. And the uncle said that he thought that spending money was like he had to like rid people of the feeling of like making it like to spending money would actually feel bad, you know, like it would be distasteful. So he was going to give him like a sum of like $30 million. I'm not sure, remember what, and then he had to spend it all in a certain amount of time. And once he was done and he had spent all that money, he would, if he successfully did that, he would get an inheritance of like $300 million. And so the movie was all about the antics of Richard Pryor trying to blow through all this cash, or whatever. And yeah, for what I remember, I haven't seen it in years. I mean, you can catch it on TBS and every once in a while and things like that. But for what I remember, it was a fairly amusing comedy. And I don't know if that had anything to do with the creation of this game, but I can't help but think that there's probably other media out there, other stories, other movies that have kind of gone with the same sort of premise. So that's the idea. So the idea is that each player is a descendant of this long lost uncle that you didn't know you had, or maybe you didn't know you had, and he basically has given each person a wad of cash. And you have to try to burn through that as quickly as possible. And also, not only do you have to get down to no money, you actually have to go into debt. And actually, then the person who ends up losing the most money will win the game, and theoretically then will inherit all of the money that the uncle has left. So I'm going to go through how you play the game. I'm going to show you some of the components, and then I'm going to tell you what I think. Well, and which is not a big surprise if you watched any of these videos, because that's just kind of the way these things progress. So, all right, well, here we go. Okay, this is the main action board that you'll be placing in the middle of the table when you play Last Will. Each player will also get one of these, which is for their little tableau of cards that they'll be collecting while they play the game. But I'll go over that in just a little bit. This is where you will decide what you're going to be taking and what you're going to be using during your turn when you take your action. The first thing you see over here is this is the round. This is your little marker for it. The game lasts 7 rounds. If somebody manages to run out of money before 7 rounds occurs, that does trigger the end game first. But if nobody manages to go bankrupt before the 7th round will be the last round, and the person with the least amount of money or the most debt at the end of the 7th round will be the winner of the game. This over here is your planning stage. Each one of these little spots, like these are little sand timers is what it looks like there. And each person gets a colored little circle here, and they depending on whoever the first player is, first player looks at these particular options, and they determine what they're going to do on their turn, or what kind of planning, what they're going to need to fulfill whatever they're trying to accomplish in that particular turn. I'll give you a closer look on this. What each of these says, I gotta keep those up. If you notice, here's the spot that you'll place your little circle, but each one has this is how many cards you'll get for taking that particular spot. This is the number of actions. These little top hats, which are these little guys. These are your errand boys. They apparently wear these cool top hats, and these are kind of neat to look anyway. But anyway, no errand boy jokes, please. But these are the errand boys. These are your workers, your worker placement, if you will, that you're going to be putting on the board and to take certain actions. And this is the number of actual actions, 3 actions, 2 actions, so on and so forth, that you'll be allowed to use when you do your cards on that little player board that I showed you just a little bit ago. So I'm just going to show you some of the, after you do that, you immediately get to draw your cards, and then after all is said and done, you set up, and then beginning with the person that placed their marker the furthest to the left on this particular spot here, they get to go first, and they get to take their little top hat, however many they get. They either get 1 or 2. And the interesting thing is, you know how a lot of worker placement games, eventually, like, you get more of these? You're only ever going to have 2 of these. So, I mean, this game isn't just a worker placement game. The worker placement is just part of the game. And you get to place this on several different locations. Now, you'll notice on this board, you'll notice that there's all these spots for cards, and then there's a little token that tells you what card to put on, and then if there's a number by it, that tells you what round. So like round 1 to 3 you place this type of card, round 4 you play or more you place this type of card, and so on and so forth. And then once you place the cards on here, and I'll do that in just a second, you place your little dude on those locations, and you get to take the card that's associated with that particular spot. Now the interesting thing up here, you see there's 3 spots up here. You notice that there's 2 up here. So you're only going to be able to, there's only 2 spots, and these are good for all 3 of these locations, meaning that one of these 3 cards won't get taken. You'll place that there, and if somebody else places that there, then those taken. And theoretically, if it got back to you, you could end up being the person that takes 2. But you'll notice that for these locations on the bottom, they're just fine as far as that goes. So that each one is designated for each card. Now, this location here, this allows you to take another one of these, and you get to add that to your player board. So you can see there's only a spot for this many cards, but you get to add that to the end. If you place, notice there's the 5 different colors here. If you place an errand boy on that particular location, you get to draw 1 extra card from any of the decks other than this deck, because this is the important like wine color deck. These are special cards that go in these top spots up here. And if you have nothing else to do with your errand boy, well, actually one more spot right there, you'll notice that there are 4 different colors of properties, these mansions and farms that you get to get. And then these particular locations, these are the property values of those particular spots. So, +1 property value, and I'll explain property values here in just a little bit when I show you the player cards and the cards themselves. But +3, -2, -3, and a +1. Now, when you place your dude there, you get to alter the value of all of those particular properties under that particular color. So like if you place that on the green, the farms, which are green, are worth +3 this time, and I'll show that to you when I show the cards to you, and so on and so forth. So since you're trying to lose money, when you play a card that is a property, you have to buy it, and you have to spend money to get it. Now, if you always, it's like normally you'd want to buy low and sell high. This is a game where you want to buy high and sell low. So if you know you're going to be buying something that is like a farm that's worth a lot of money, you'd place this +3 on that particular farm. You buy it at a high amount, and then later on you sell it. Hopefully you get to move the -3 over there, and so it's worth even less, and so you actually lose money on the deal. And it should be noted that when the end of the game comes, you can't own any property because you can't go bankrupt if you actually own something that's worth something, right? So, and then the last location, if there's nothing else to do, you can put this guy here, and you just basically send your errand boy to the opera, and he spends some of your money. So, that's the player boards. That's how you set everything up as far as that goes. The cards are pretty cool. As I said, these are the kind of the special cards. The 1 crown, and eventually go to 2 crowns and 3. These, you're going to place these here, and as you play the game, and those are the ones that you take, and there's always going to be one left over. These particular cards here that are designated to go here and here after the 4th and the 5th round. These are events, like a carriage ride, and it costs money. If you take an action, you can see there's a little A there, and you take an action, it costs money. And then if you actually bring a friend along, like this little lady figure there, if you're able to bring a friend along on the ride, you spend extra money on the carriage ride. And so those are these are the event cards, and they, if it was rounds 4 or 5, those would go there. And it should be noted that you can always draw these cards with your draw action when you need to draw cards from where you placed it, and they just don't get out here to be taken as far as that goes. These are the property cards. As I said, like here's a manor house, and you can see that there's a price over here, and it's kind of tough to see, and I apologize, but like see 23, 22, and 20. The reason why there's 3 different sites is because if you don't pay for upkeep to keep your manor house up and viable, and basically you're throwing lavish parties, or maybe you're just trashing the place, it slowly decreases in value unless you pay money to keep it. And a lot of times you don't want to. You want it to decrease in value, so when you eventually do sell it, it's worth less than what you put into it. And a lot of the places allow you to do actions. You can see over here, if you take an action with this one, it spends 5, and if you have a cook, and like if you place a cook there to win, it's worth 7, and if you have a cook and you have your girlfriend there, it's worth 10, and so on and so forth. And these are the properties, and you'll be taking these so you can eventually, you have to actually buy them to be able to place them on your card, but you see how that works. And finally, we have these right there, little people on there, and it's like estate agent, and these a little more complex because you have to understand like all the little symbols, and of course the rule book is very good because it has a complete listing of these. These particular cards, what they do is they help you to spend money. So like you can see, this is a training ground for your racing dogs, and for every racing dog you have, you spend money. It's a training school, and things like that that work with other cards that you have, that interplay that they have, that allow you to work that. But kind of get ahead of myself just a little bit, but just so you can see how it works. So this is a property, you place that there. This is another dude, and apparently these are like considered to be like your friends or your compatriots, I guess is kind of like what those cards are. But in all honesty, even the rules state that you kind of are trying to associate yourself with a bunch of degenerates, so they can because they're after your money, but you don't care because you want them to be your buddies, so they take your money. And finally, this last spot is a wild card, and the wild card, if you take it, if you notice, there's a cook there, there's a horse there, there's a lady there, and there's a dog there. These are all the different people that you can bring with you on an event. And so if you take that card, you don't get to keep it in your hand, but if you know you're going to be taking an event and you want to spend a little bit extra money, that wild card is there for you to snag and to use. But then you have to return it after the round is over. All right, so let me clear this off, and I'll show you the player board, and I'll show you exactly how that works. Okay, here's a player's board, and I've just put some cards out on top of it. Obviously ones that will kind of display the many different things that certain cards can do. And this is if the game's been going on for a little while, and I'm just going to show you how those work. But over here, you'll notice that there is an action number tracker over here, and you can see there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, then back up here, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. What'll happen is that depending on which spot you picked on your planning, you'll get a certain number of actions, and those range from 1 through 4, depending on which spot you took. And then plus there's other cards and things you can get later on that'll give you more actions. So let's just say that if you had 3, you place that on the 3 and you're good to go. Now here's where you just kind of see what you got, look at the cards that you have in your hand, and you try to determine what you're going to do. And now normally the other player is supposed to watch you do this and whatever, but we've discovered that since there isn't a huge amount of interaction here, other than you just want to make sure the person isn't cheating or something like that. Usually the next person can kind of work on what they're doing, and then to kind of speed up gameplay. So the first thing you'll notice is this particular spot, and all these spots you have a limited number, and I showed you that you could actually get more to add on to this so you can have more cards. But normally basically you can't place any more down unless you either get rid of a card that you have, or by another spot so you can place another card. You can't get rid of a property because you have to actually sell properties, and that's an action. But say you had this card and you wanted to play something else, you can just discard it and you can place it down. But this particular card, this is your old friend, and you see that plus A. Now there's no money or anything up here, so he doesn't spend any of your money. But you can notice this guy, he's got a couple of bottles of champagne, a cigar, a scarf, and a top hat, and he's ready to hit the town with you. So, and he gives you an action. So what you do is you just slide it down like this to say that you've actually, this little check mark appears, meaning you've activated him. And so then, bam, he gives you another action. So now your old friend is ready to race around town with you and have a good time. Now, the next thing I'm going to show you is a property. Now, I mentioned a little bit ago, you pay the amount that's up here. And this particular property, I hope you can see that, is 15 when you bought it. And you notice it can decrease down to 13, down to 10, and down to 7. And you notice over here, you'll see that there is a 3 and then an action. Now, if you actually want to maintain this townhouse, it'll cost you £3, which is good because you need to spend your money, but this won't decrease. And so you monitor this. I just dropped my little marker, but you monitor this by using these little tiny wood-shaped things, and you just kind of place that there. And so as the game progresses, if you maintain the property, it stays there, or it moves slowly down on the card. If you activate it, it stays where it is. If you don't activate it in your turn, don't spend the money, it moves slowly down. You can never actually get it to go back up on the card, and so a lot of times with these townhouses you end up and with the decreasing amount, you end up actually just never activating them, and they just slowly slide into disrepair, so you can sell them at a loss, and you can make some money off of them. However, some townhouses will actually be kind of nice because you notice this one, this mansion, if you get a chef, the little chef hat there, and you get a chef to start working there, and place that on there, you can actually spend, £5 every single time. So if you can get a chef onto this one, you'd probably activate this one more often because you're spending more money when you use it. But that's how that works. Now, next card you have here this is kind of an event. This is your reservation at a well-to-do restaurant. And when you activate this, using it, you get to spend £1, and you go there. Now, once again, you notice there's a little chef icon. So if you have a chef card, I'll show you one of those here in just a second. These are these companions. If you have a chef, you can place this, and if you notice, next to the side there, it says an action. And so you get to place a little marker on there like so, and that stays on the card. And now, if you manage to do that every time you activate this particular card as an action, instead of spending £1 on your reservation, you actually are spending 3, so it's been costing you more money. Now here's another cool card, and you notice that this is a, if you notice the companion or the helper cards, they don't have a black border around them. And much like these events don't have a white border, only black bordered cards get to be actually be placed on their actual board. But you'll notice here's one of these little unscrupulous dudes, and you notice this waiter. He looks kind of, I don't know, like he's stealing the fine china. But you notice that there's this marker that says the knife and the fork. Add 1 to the price. So you don't really activate this, you don't really use it, but because you don't have to, but you always get this bonus. So that what that means is that any card that you activate that has this symbol, which would be this card, you get to spend an extra £1. So you can see the cards actually start working with each other, and you're spending more money. And I keep mentioning the money, and I keep forgetting to mention this. The money isn't like actual coins, and it isn't paper money. It's actually these cardboard chits, and they work really well. I've replaced them with poker chips when I play the game, because I always do that with games with money, just because I like the feel of it. So, but I do prefer this much over paper money. So, the last one I'm going to show you here is a farm. You can see it's a little green up there. And you notice the farm doesn't ever deteriorate. It just kind of stays the same and stays where it is. And when you sell this off, obviously you're like, why would I take a farm? Because you're spending 25 to get it, and you're going to get 25 back. Well, the nice thing about farms, you notice, you can end up taking these actions that just really spend a lot of your money if you can actually get it up. Notice up to the point where it's 10 here. There's 2 horses there, so if you get a couple of horse companions and you place 2 markers on there, you notice that every time you're going to use this particular spot, you're going to be spending £10 each and every time. Now, of course, you have to plan ahead, and knowing full well that you're going to be selling this farm back eventually, and that takes an action to sell a property. But so you're going to have to get that 25 and figure out a way you're going to actually be able to spend that money. But you can see why having something like this that you can activate at any time to spend £10 is actually really helpful. And that's how this works. That's how the game progresses. You'll slowly but surely you'll be getting rid of cards and placing better cards on there, because as the game progresses, better and better cards from this particular deck, the one that with the crowns on it, because eventually once you get to like the 2 and the 3, the cards actually increase, and they actually spend more money, and they're actually more powerful. You'll be replacing different cards. You'll be placing other cards that work better with other ones, and you'll be constantly adjusting this little tableau that's in front of you, so you can actually be more efficient in your money losing ventures, if you will. But I mean, that's how the game is played. You do this until one person manages to not have any properties, because you can't own property and go bankrupt, and they manage to lose all their money and hopefully even go into bankruptcy, actually being in debt. That signals the ending of the game. Everybody tries to spend as much as they possibly can, and then whoever has the least amount of money or the most amount of debt wins the game and inherits their uncle's vast fortune. So that's kind of briefly how you play the game. Now I'm going to tell you exactly what I think of Last Will. Hello! Okay, so that's how you play Last Will. What do I think? I like it. I like it a lot, actually. This is going to sound weird saying, but yeah, I know a lot of people like the opinion is another boring, themeless, tacked on theme Euro. And the thing is that yeah, I mean, most Euros have, well, I shouldn't say most Euros, but a lot of Euros, you could take the theme and replace it with something else, and it's interchangeable. But with this game, you know, it's a fairly standard game. You know, you know, it's card drafting, it's, you know, worker placement, you know, it's action taking. It's, you know, the mechanics of it, you know, aren't really anything. I mean, I don't want to say not innovative, because the game, I feel, is fairly innovative, you know. But I mean, the root of the game it's nothing new, you know. But the actions and everything are being taken in a way, and they're being implemented in a way that just seem kind of fresh to me. The game, and this is probably not the best comparison, but the game reminds me a lot. When I played it, it reminded me a lot of London, actually, by Martin Wallace. Just because you have that row of cards in front of you that you slowly build up, and you're looking for the best way for those cards to interact with each other, to get to that end goal of you know, to win the game, you know, to basically lose all your money. And I mean, and the theme of the game really kind of saves this one for me. You know, like I said, I mean, the game is fun, and it uses the mechanisms very well. But if it was just another, you know, victory point engine, you know, do this, do that, you know, start, you know, working your points up and working it up, you know, I would play it. I would say, that was fun, you know, and I'd play it 2 or 3 times, and I'd say, well, you know, it's a good game, it's a solid game, and I would put it on my shelf, and I'd eventually sell it off or trade it or give it to some of my friends, and just have to let somebody else have it, because I've got games like that already. But this game, the theme actually kind of saves it. It's actually really fun. You know, it's fun just trying to just blow through your money. You know, spending it on, you know, dinners that you never go to, and taking your lady friend on a carriage ride, and so on and so forth. I mean, the whole premise of it is kind of neat. I mean, we spend the vast majority of our lives trying to, you know, scrimp and save and be able to, you know, buy a house or buy a car or whatever like that. And so to, like, just embody a theme of a game where we're just, you know, throwing cash out the window, basically, you know, letting our mansions go into disrepair. I mean, that just, you know, it just appeals to me, and it just seems really fun to me. So, I really, really enjoy the game. Would it be right for you? I don't know. It's a very, very good medium Euro. If you've played games of very kind of, it's not too difficult. If you've played, if you have a good base in German style designer games, you're not going to have any problems with this game. You know, this is one of those games that after the first round, it's just going to click, and you're going to understand how the game works, and then the fun begins. You know, where you play it through once, and then you kind of reflect on the game, and you play it through again. You start recognizing the different you know, properties of the cards and how they work with each other, and the game kind of starts that onion that I've referred to in many previous reviews. You know, the layers of the onion start peeling off, and you start going, oh yeah. And you know, and the thing is, there's a lot to this game, and there's enough player interaction to get you out of that multiplayer solitaire territory, and you know, actually you're competing with the people around you, and you can actually, in some ways, actually directly affect them. You know, with you know, changing the values of the properties, taking cards that you think they might like, and stuff like that. I wish there was a little bit more player interaction. A game like this kind of just screams to me that this needs to be kind of a game with more of a screw your neighbor element to it, and it really doesn't have that. I wish there were cards that, you know, like maybe you could. You know, like somebody who's letting their mansion fall into disrepair. I wish there was something you could do, maybe to, like, you know, sneak in and, like, fix it or something like that. Or maybe, like, if they're always taking, you know, their dogs or their cooks with them on their trips and stuff like that, so it costs money. Maybe you could hire those people away from them, and then you could use them. I mean, so, like, I wish there was something you could use to, like, directly affect them a little bit more. But you know what? Hey, I'm not a designer of the game. And I'm sure we all have wish lists and stuff like that. I really, really enjoy the game. I think it's a lot of fun. It's coming out really, really soon. I think it's one of those perfect. I don't know about you guys. A lot of people out there, I know you only have an hour or so to game at a time and stuff like that. But when I sit down and I game with my friends on the weekends, we have a good chunk of time, like 5 or 6 hours. And so this game, you can play with 4 or 5 people, and 5 people is like I played it with 2, and I didn't like it as much. But you know, every other 3, 4, 5 plays really well. and you get the game done within about an hour. So it's a really nice warm up game for my group, and so it's highly enjoyable. But yeah, there you go. That is Last Bill. Like I said, Rio Grande Games version is coming out. If you happen to live in Europe, you've probably already seen it on the shelf and you can pick it up. But the Rio Grande Games it's coming out it's the next week or so. So like if you're watching this video a year from now when it got posted, then you've already seen this on the shelf and you know it's already out. So just disregard that statement. But if you think it's something you want to pick up, I highly suggest snagging it while you can. Other than that, if you have any questions about the rules or comments about the video in general, or just you want to tell me what the weather is like in your area, you can go ahead and leave those down below the video right here. I'm just going to let you know, if you're watching this on YouTube and you happen to be a Board Game Geek member, I highly suggest that you go to Board Game Geek and post your comment or question if you have one, because I'm really bad about logging into YouTube and responding to comments there. I try to, so I mean, if you're not a member at Board Game Geek, by all means, just you don't worry about it. You can leave your question or whatever, and I'll try to get to it as soon as I can. But if you're not a member of Board Game Geek and you like board games, why aren't you? I mean, that place is awesome. You should go there. So, other than that, this is me. This is Undead Viking. Thank you very much for tuning in to watch another one of my things. And until next time, I'll talk to you later. Take it easy.